Welcome back, baseball fans, as we continue this Legends in the Making playthrough on OTP 26. We are getting ready for the 1987 season. This episode, we are going to close out the 1980s and then get ready for the big Voppers of the 1990s. But we are coming off of two NLCS losses, two NLCS losses. After winning 109 games and 95 games, things are kind of tough for us in the playoffs. So we have made a few changes. We've got, before we do, let's look at the Hall of Fame voting results. Don Drysdale with a 99.4% beat out Sandy Koufax, who had this monster career with all of these. What he did? 13 Cy Youngs, 2 MVPs, got a Gold Glove as well, won 5 titles, 20-time All-Star, 627 Hall of Fame metric. He had 462 wins, 6,100 strikeouts. But Don Drysdale, with his 1 Cy Young in this metrics, was able to beat out Koufax. Not that he not shabby himself, but 3,800 strikeouts, 366 wins. Somehow he got more votes. And Catfish Hunter, our own as well, was able to get in far less, but he had a dominant 5-year run that was enough to see him in. Dropping quite a few are getting dropped. Bobby Bonds got dropped. He had a couple. Maury Wills got dropped. Tim McCarver, Luis Tiant did not get in, like his dad or his uncle. I don't remember who it was. Joe Torre, Willie McCovey are struggling. Tommy John on his first year did okay. I think he's got a shot. It's going to be tough for him to get in. But when we look at our team and get ready to go, we've got Ozzie Smith going to lead the way at short. Paul Molitor is going to play third, so Schmidt can move over to second, where he's actually going to be even better because he can. That range will help us shore up the middle infield. Kruk's going to play first for us. Joe Carter's moving out to left. Fred Lynn's going to be in center. Dave Winfield in right, and Terry Steinbach at catcher. Our rotation is going to be Nolan Ryan, Larry Christensen, Bob Ojeda, Oro Hershiser, and Dennis Martinez. We also have Kenny Rogers we've brought up. Jose Rio's ready. Doug Jones is ready to go. Charlie Huff. Chuck Finley's been brought up. Tom Bergmeyer is our addition. We signed him to get some help in the bullpen just to solidify it. We've brought Otis Nixon and BJ Surhoff up as well. Vince Coleman's going to get some playing time. And Manny Trio is another one that we brought up to give some backup to Kruk. So it's going to be interesting to see how things shape up. But hopefully things go well for us. And I'm excited to get the 1987 season going against our rival, the Cubs, to see how things play out. Well, the first half of 1987 has gone very well for us. We are 7.5 games up, and that's due to some later runs that happened, because early on it was back and forth. We're holding off the Mets, and then there's a big gap, so it's just 2 of us above 500. The Braves are 1.5 games up over the Padres, 4 games up over the Dodgers, 5.5 up over the Astros over in the West. So that's 4-team race going on over there, it looks like. In the American League, the Boston Red Sox have a 2.5 game lead over the Tigers, but once again, this division is tight because any of these 6 teams could put together a run to win it. And then there's the Brewers just sitting there too far out. The Twins are 1.5 games up over the Rangers. The Angels are right behind. Again, this is actually anybody in that division could potentially make a run, but it looks like Oakland's just made one. I don't know if they'll have enough to put anything. It's probably just these 5 that have the ability to do that. When we look at the leaders in the American League, Johnny Ray is hitting .353. Cal Daniels at 32 home runs. That is a monster first half. McGuire's sitting there with 31. What did he do? And was this his Rookie of the Year season? It was. He had 49. Oof. We are to some huge numbers. How's Cal Daniels in 1987? Man, what happened to this guy? Oh, he just had his one flash. He's already well above his total from 1987 when he also hit .334. Well, he's hitting .344 this year. McGuire has 87 RBI, which is holding off Cal Daniels, who's making a Triple Crown run apparently. Tim Raines has 38 stolen bases, ahead of Cal Daniels' 37. What did he 26 stolen bases. So he's already above all of that. And he already has a 5.3 WAR above his 5.1 WAR. Wow. OPS of 1.114, 5.3 WAR. Pedro Guerrero had a 23 game hitting streak. He's putting together another fantastic season, just overshadowed by Daniels and McGuire. Bryn Smith had 2.76 ERA. Mark Kubica with 12 wins. Mike Scott, 140 strikeouts. Andy McGaffigan with 23 saves, along with Don Robinson and Frank Viola at a 4.2 pitcher WAR. In the National League, Tony Gwynn is leading the way with a 3.63 average, while George Bell has 27 home runs. Schmidt is putting together another good, solid season for us. George Bell, 75 RBIs, again ahead of the crime dog. So it's the same for home runs as it is for RBI. Stolen bases, Paul Molitor is leading the way with 41. Ozzie Smith right behind him, and then Rickey shows up. Pete O'Brien with a 1.091 OPS. Henderson, though, has a 5.0 batter WAR because he's hitting 317 and 19 home runs. Billy Hatcher, 23-game hitting streak. Hershiser with a 2.33 ERA and 12 wins. But Nolan Ryan has 132 strikeouts to lead the way. So he is... ERA is not the best, but he's sitting people down. And then Lance McCullers has 29 saves. Eckersley at 27 is 3 off its total of last season. And then Pascual Perez has a 4.6 pitcher WAR. If we look at the team as a whole, we're doing really well. Batting average is our weakest spot, along with home runs. We don't have the power that I'm kind of surprised, but it's okay. I like how Steinbach here is hitting 325. That's great. What a great season he's having for us right now. But pitching and defense, runs against, we're number 1. ERA, FIP, pitching WAR, everything is going really well for us there. I mean, Tug McGraw is doing great. Larry Christensen is doing well again. Not as well as last season, but and Dennis Martinez is filling in very nicely. So when we look at the All-Star teams, the American League is sitting there with Bob Welch at starter, Dave Smith at closer, Gino Petrelli at catcher, hitting 324. Don Mattingly's hitting 342, first base. Johnny Ray at second at 353 average, 3 WAR. Carney Lansford's hitting 317. This is a monster hitting season. At third, Tony Fernandez at short, Cal Daniels in left. That's not a surprise. Tim Raines also in left, and Eric Davis in center, and Jesse Barfield in right. In the National League, Hershiser made it, but his teammate Nolan Ryan is the star, getting the, because of all the strikeouts, probably averaging a 10.3 K/9 ratio. Valenzuela's back in there at 2.82 ERA. Goose Gossage, we almost re-signed him. I'm kind of glad I didn't with 2 to 3 months out. 7 games, 9 innings pitched, and he's named the starter. Crazy fans. Dave Rader is the catcher. Steinbach made it. Pete O'Brien at first, Mike Schmidt at second, Wade Boggs at third, Eric Soderholm at short, Lyman Bostock in center, along with Rickey Henderson, and then Tony Gwynn in right. So things are looking well for us. I think we're going to be making it to the playoffs. Then the question is, will we be able to actually win it this year? Matt Williams, he's getting ready for his debut next season. Schmidt will be, well, he's 37. If he looks like that, he's still going to be starting. Molitor, we're going to have to figure out how to put Matt Williams in the lineup. And Tom Glavine is getting closer and closer as well. So that's good to see. And then the others, if they get there, it's great. Let's check out how Finley's not doing too well. 8 strikeouts, 10 walks, 4.96 ERA. Kenny Rogers, on the other hand, 2.30 ERA, 15 innings. So our bullpen's not needed a ton outside of Jones, McGraw, and Eckersley. Jose Rios striking people out, but he's also not doing great at shutting people down. Bergmeier's doing well, though. So that's where we're at. We're going to go through the rest of the season, see how it goes. And the season wrapped up. We ran away with it. Or I think actually they kind of fell away with it. Nobody else had 500 record in our division. So we won by 19 games with a 99-63 record. Had to face off against the Braves, who won by 2 over the Dodgers. The Tigers beat the Red Sox by 2 games, and the Rangers held off with 5-game leads. So 490 win teams going off. And it turns out in the LCS, we were able to win in 7 games. We lost the first 2, came back, went down 3 games to 1, and then game 5, 6, and 7. But the one that I want to point out is game 6, Nolan Ryan throwing a no-hitter with 16 strikeouts and 3 walks. He rose to the occasion, and somehow, with that in mind, his playoff series where he had 16 innings, 28 strikeouts, a 1.65 ERA, it wasn't enough. Paul Molitor won the MVP of the series with his 333 average, 7 RBIs. Took us to the World Series to go up against Detroit, and we came out victorious by sweeping the Tigers. Dave Winfield getting the MVP award with his 3 home runs, 571 average. Again, Nolan Ryan had another masterpiece, a 4-hit shutout where we won 1-0 with 11 strikeouts in 8 innings. He showed up ready to play to win our 19th championship, first one since 1981. The Tigers are still waiting since 1959 to get there. They've been making the playoffs lately, and they do have 6 World Series to their name, but they couldn't quite get there. Now, when we look at the league leaders, the way it ended, Cal Daniels had a 330 average. Mark McGwire, 54 home runs. Cal Daniels just missed out on the Triple Crown, barely in those categories. McGwire also had 138 RBIs. We've not seen that total in a long time. Kim Allen had 65 stolen bases. Cal Daniels had 64 stolen bases and 122 RBI, 49 home runs, and a 330 average. That might be the best season offensively that we've seen in this simulation. That's absolutely insane. He had a 1.054 OPS, 8.7 WAR, so his defense apparently wasn't quite there. Jerry Mumphrey had a 26-game hitting streak. Rick Royschel, 2.72 ERA and 20 wins along with Bryn Smith. But Mark Langston had 259 strikeouts. Steve Bedrosian had 40 saves, and Mike Scott a 7.9 pitcher WAR. In the NL, Wade Boggs won another batting title, hitting 342, beating out Gwynn and Molitor. George Bell had 48 home runs. Schmidt had a fantastic season with 42 home runs, a 548 slugging percentage. Joe Carter got second to George Bell's 127 RBI. He hit 318, so he was close to his own Triple Crown run. Paul Molitor had 69 stolen bases. Ozzie was up there as well, beating the great Rickey Henderson. Fred McGriff, a 1.005 OPS, and Henderson with an 8.7 WAR, beating out Schmidt. Jerry Mumphrey with 26-game hitting streak. Hershiser had a 2.70 ERA and 22 wins, but only 161 strikeouts, while Nolan Ryan had 233. Lance McCullers had 45 saves, and Pascual Perez with a 6.9 pitcher WAR. We did fantastic, everything but home runs. We were in the top 3 on home runs. We didn't have the same power, but the way we were hitting, who cares? Steinbach's been great at catcher for us so far. His WAR was 4.9. So we can't argue with that. When we check in on the awards of the season, we will see in the Gold Gloves for the AL, Frank Viola got it at pitcher, Tony Pena Sr. at catcher. Hey, he's our former guy, finally getting some playing time. Darrell Evans at first, Ozzie Guillen at second for the White Sox, no less. Tim Wallach at third. That is his 5th one. Tom Foley at short, Tim Raines, Eric Davis, and Jesse Barfield in the outfield. In the NL, it was Don Wilson, Charlie O'Brien, Eddie Murray at first, Mike Schmidt winning another one, his 5th one. John Castino, Ozzie Smith at short, and the outfield was Ivan Calderon, Rickey Henderson, and Dave Henderson. Reliever of the year in the AL went to Dave Smith, unanimously, no less, having a fantastic season there with 78 strikeouts. The NL went to Lance McCullers unanimously, but Tug McGraw, our guy, Eckersley actually got hurt the last 6 weeks of the season. Didn't get back for the playoffs either, so McGraw did a big part in helping to solidify that bullpen for us. The Silver Sluggers go to Gino Petrelli, hitting 342 at catcher for Cleveland. McGuire at first, Davey Johnson at second, Howard Johnson, Hojo at third. Shortstop Gary Gaetti, Brian Downing in left, Eric Davis in center, Lloyd Mosby in right, and Cal Daniels, of course, the DH. What a season. In the NL, it was Oral Hershiser picking it up. Matt Noakes at catcher, Fred McGriff at first, Schmidt, Molitor for us, Alan Trammell at short, and the outfield was George Bell, Rickey Henderson, and Dave Henderson, familiar to the Gold Gloves. Rookie of the Year went to Mike Aldrati, unanimously in the AL, hitting .323 in center field. NL was Matt Noakes unanimously at catcher, hitting .295 with 37 home runs. What did he do in 1987? He hit 32 as a rookie. He came on the scene strong. I forgot all about that. Cy Young goes to Mike Scott, a unanimous one, his first one. He's had a good 2 seasons there, leading the league in WAR both times. And Hershiser wins it unanimously in the NL, winning his second one in a row. Well done, Oral. The MVP goes to Cal Daniels, deservedly so, and it went to Mike Schmidt, who beat out Molitor and Henderson and Bell, and Hershiser also getting the other first place votes. Fred McGriff finished 4th without any, but he picks up 3rd MVP for Mike Schmidt. We will look at no retirees. We have some free agents out there. The big ones are Dwight Evans, Lyman Bostock, who we're going to go for because we don't have a center fielder after Fred Lynn left. Well, we do, but I'd rather see if we can at least have some backup or upgrade over Otis Nixon. We are thinned out. The draft this year, some of the big names would be Luis Gonzalez, Kenny Lofton, Javi Lopez, Reggie Sanders, and Jose Offerman. There are some names in this draft that I know I recognize, and you will as well. Jim Edmonds is the one I would love to get, being a Cardinal as well later on in his career. Marquise Grissom's out there. Brad Ausmus, Deion Sanders. In the pitchers, we have the names that stood out. Mark Wallers is there. Arthur Rhodes, solid one. Darryl Kyle is one I'd like to see if he falls to me. Tim Wakefield as well, maybe in the second round. Going for the ageless one there with the knuckleballer. He, some better than others, but you got to keep in mind what the average ERA was at this point. He's better than that. So, for longevity's sake, he might be a good one to have. But let's get ready to see who is going to be going. So first pick of the draft goes to California, and the Angels are going to take Luis Gonzalez. The Brewers took Mark Wallers, Javi Lopez to the Cubs, Arthur Rhodes to the Expos, Greg McMichael to the Giants, Kenny Lofton to the Phillies. The A's take Reggie Sanders, John Valentin to Cleveland, Jeff Conine to the Yankees, Jose Offerman to the Reds. Seattle takes Mark Clark, Steve Avery to Pittsburgh. I forgot about him, the lesser of the Braves rotation. Darryl Kyle to the Royals. The Mets take Turk Wendell. How is Edmonds still out there? I just jinxed it. He's going to go next. Houston takes Tim Naring. Minnesota, Pedro Borbon. David Segui to the White Sox. The Orioles take Marquise Grissom. Brian Jordan also out there to the Padres. Toronto, Darren Oliver. The Dodgers, Randy Tomlin. Greg Olson to the Rangers. The Red Sox get Greg Colburn. Woody Williams to the Braves. Eric Karros to the Tigers, which means Jim Edmonds is out there for us. Oh, wow. Talk about getting a center fielder. Yeah, we'll come back to Wakefield next time. We are taking Jimmy Edmonds. There we go. So that finished up the first round. And you know what? Let's go to see if I can get Wakefield. Is he still out there? I doubt he is. Yeah, he's not. So we'll wrap up there. I'll wrap up the draft, and we'll pick back up after the offseason's done for the 1988 season. We are ready for opening day 1988, kicking it off against the Cincinnati Reds, and a few changes have been made. We did sign Lyman Bostock, so we've got him for a couple years to play center field for us, and we did trade away John Kruk, but we traded him away as part of a package to pick up Andres Galarraga, who for some reason was available. So we were able to snatch him. He's going to be a much better long-term when he adds a much bigger bat. Kruk was not a power guy. So I'm thrilled to have Galarraga here. We had to give up Kruk, Gerald Williams, Gerald Clark, Dwayne Hosey, and Mike Bordick. So a future, Oakland A's second baseman there. We gave up those to Seattle to secure his signature, but we're okay with that. And I think that's all we did. Anybody else that we added? No, that was it. Bostock and Galarraga. Oh, and Bobby Grich. That's right. We added Bobby Grich as well on a 1-year contract. He's there to back up the infield and help back up Schmidt and Molitor and Smith because he's versatile and can play all those places. So we'll see how that goes. So our lineup's going to be Molitor, Bostock, Carter, Schmidt, Winfield, Galarraga, Ozzie Smith, and then Terry Steinbach, who's been doing really well so far, but we'll see if he keeps that up. Nolan Ryan's going to be our ace again at the top, followed by Oral Hershiser, who might actually be the ace of the staff, Larry Christensen, Bob Ojeda, and Dennis Martinez. Charlie Huff is back there ready to start as well. Kenny Rogers and Chuck Finley are not ready yet. Chuck Finley's close, but he'll be there more to fill in a gap if something happens as far as injuries go. Hall of Fame results: Willie Stargell is the only one to get in. Clete Boyer barely missed in his first year. That's a shame because I'd love to see him get in. Greg Nettles is the big name that did not get in there. Killebrew is not going to get in, it looks like. Tommy John's going to have a tough time getting in. But Stargell did get in with his 544 home runs and 16 RBIs and 279 average. I did want to take a quick look at a couple players. Tom Seaver did retire after 1987. He retired with 334 wins, 4,200 strikeouts, a 114 WAR. When we look at how that stacks up to his real life, he had a 106 WAR, 3,600 strikeouts, and 311 wins. So this, he outperformed his actual stats, but he also played one extra year, but that wouldn't have been a year that would have done much to him. Steve Carlton also retired after 1986, 2 years ago, 329 wins and 4,000 strikeouts. When we look at how he did, he had 4,100 strikeouts and 329 wins. So it nailed him really well. And then Bert Blyleven retired after 1987 at the age of 36. He still could have kept going, but he allowed the most home runs the last 2 years. So it's probably best he retired. 3,600 strikeouts and 278 wins. In reality, he had a few more years left in the tank, but 287 wins, 3,700 strikeouts, a 107 WAR. So he was pretty much on the dot as well. So it did do pretty well as far as getting those guys. The two hitters I wanted to point out would be Rod Carew, retired with 3,400 hits and a 63 WAR. In reality, he had 82 WAR and 3,000 hits. So it maybe was his defense. I don't know, but he didn't do as well as WAR, but he got more hits. And Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle, 3,600 hits, far cry away from his 4,200 hits in reality. A 111 WAR in real life, 74 WAR here, so he just did not put up the numbers that he did in real life. But that's where we're at as we go into the 1988 season and hope to see a repeat World Series as we hope to hunt down and chase down the real New York Yankees. Matt Williams is close to getting in, but we don't have a spot for him yet. We will very soon because Schmidt at 38, he's probably going to start seeing a decline pretty soon, I would imagine. And we have him on the contract only for 3 more years, but Matt Williams, will find a spot for him. I have no doubt. So, and Tom Glavine as well. He's getting close, and Dave Nielsen is not anywhere close, but he'll be there when Steinbach needs to fall apart. But we do have Joe Girardi as well. So we'll see how things go, and we'll pick back up at the All-Star break. All right, 1988 is going really well for us at the moment. We are 16 games up, and this is reminiscent of some of our major seasons from decades ago. 63-23. The Pirates are having a good season, but things are clicking for us offensively, especially the Dodgers, 6.5 up, 50 wins over there in the NL West. Harold Reynolds, Alan Trammell, Fred Lynn went over to them. He's not really doing anything, but I don't know what's doing it for them, but they're winning. Sandy Alomar Jr., Doug Drabeck, he'll be good, really good. He's actually doing fine just now. I think this is around, we're close to his Cy Young winning season. It was right around 1990. In the AL, the Tigers and the Orioles are in a deadlocked fight. trying to also hold off the Yankees, Cleveland, and Boston. And the Mariners are just ahead of the Royals and the Rangers. So we'll see. This is going to be some tight races elsewhere, especially in the American League going on. But I think we're the only safe one at the moment. The league leaders, if we look at the AL, Kirby Puckett is hitting 372. Jack Clark still has it. 22 home runs. Man, he's had 2. Maybe we did let him go too soon. Maybe we did. He's been really good for the... Well, his batting average has dropped a lot, but he still has the power numbers. We've been able to replace him, though. Joe Carter's done great. Kirby Puckett also has 69 RBIs to go along with his 20 home runs. He's mounting a Triple Crown run. Kim Allen with 35 stolen bases. Puckett with a 1.029 OPS and a 5.2 batter WAR. Sandberg had a 27-game hitting streak, while Teddy Higuera, 2.43 ERA, and Saberhagen is sitting with 12 wins. Clemens has 130 strikeouts. Dave Smith, 21 saves, and Teddy Higuera with a 4.6 pitcher WAR. In the NL, our guy, Paul Molitor, leading the field with 355 batting average. Winfield hitting 324. Bo knows home runs. He's got 23 home runs to lead the league over Canseco. Kevin McReynolds has 66 RBI. I'm not familiar with McReynolds or Chris Smith. Rickey Henderson, 42 stolen bases, beating Molitor at the moment. I think he wants his crown back. OPS goes to Molitor and Winfield, 954 and 942. Alan Trammell with 5.6 batter WAR, barely besting Molitor. Molitor's putting up MVP numbers this season with his 9 strikeouts. He's on pace for 131s and a 10 WAR. That's crazy. Really, really good. Hitting streak, Tony Gwynn, 26-game hitting streak put together. Mike Witt has a 2.53 ERA. Hershiser with 13 wins and a 2.63 ERA. Nolan Ryan with 131 strikeouts. Eckersley has 28 saves, and Mike Moore with a 3.9 pitcher WAR. When we look at our own statistics, look, first place, everything but home runs. We are 6th. We don't have as much power coming out of this one. We do have a trade that was made. No, wait, we went over that last time. I didn't make that trade. That's right. We are sitting with pitching doing great, everything but the bullpen, and strikeouts. We're on top. Dennis Martinez is having a great season this year. Eckersley's back there doing his thing. Everything is looking nice and smooth. Finley's doing well in his 19 innings pitched. Tug McGraw, we still unfortunately have. We might just have to release him if he accepts that player option. I'm kind of hoping he retires, but we'll find out. So let's check out the All-Star rosters. In the AL, Dwight Gooden is getting the start. He is not superhuman anymore, but he still is really good. We've got Dave Smith at closer, Brian Downing at catcher, Johnny Ray at second. Will Clark at first. There we go. Hitting 320, 11 home runs, 3.1 WAR. More popular than Alvin Davis, apparently. Kevin Seitzer at third. Sandberg makes it. Tony Fernandez at short. Cal Daniels coming down from the mountaintop with only 9 home runs, 275 average, and on pace for only 24 stolen bases after his monster 40-40, almost 50-50 campaign and 142 runs. Hey, where did he go? Mike Greenwell, left field. Kirby Puckett in center. Dwight Evans in right. For the NL, we have Hershiser getting the start. Ryan's also on there. Eckersley is there, but Tom Hinkie gets the closer role. Terry Steinbach, our catcher, he's not having as good of a season, but he's still having a good one. He gets the nod over Matt Noakes, who's also not having anywhere nearly as good of a season as his rookie campaign. Eddie Murray at first, yet again. He is racking up the All-Star appearances. We've got Mike Schmidt at second, who's also racking up the appearances. Paul Molitor at third, besting Wade Boggs. Alan Trammell at short. Bonds makes it in left, but Rickey beats him out. Lyman Bostock for us, our center field signing, is working out a 2.3 WAR. Only 1 home run and 14 stolen bases, 292 average. He is on pace for 183 hits. Tony Gwynn over in right, who's besting Bo and Winfield in that. So that's where we're at. Things are going well. Shouldn't be any surprises for us on the end of this season. The question is, will we have any, and who will we face, and will we be able to defeat whoever comes out of it to try to get a repeat World Series? But we'll find out. Well, this was one of our most dominating seasons yet. We ended up winning by 36 games the division. I think that's 118 wins. That is amazing for us. But we'll see if we did well in the playoffs or not. The Reds won their division in the West by 6 games. The Tigers won the AL East by 4, and the Mariners by 3 in the AL West. When we look at the playoffs, did we actually beat the Reds? Because go figure, this was a team that we were, I think, 6-6 against in the regular season. Thankfully, we did win it. We swept them, and then we won in 6 games against the Tigers. So it was overall very good playoffs. Lyman Bostock was the MVP, our new center fielder signing. He ended up hitting 385, 10 hits in the World Series. And so as we crushed them, the league championship series was Dave Winfield as he hit 615, 8 of 13 against the Reds to help carry us. Now they were close. We won by 2, 1, and 1. So it's not like they were real easy, but Eckersley got 4 saves in the series. So fantastic job there, which means we were able to take home our 20th World Series championship, getting closer to the Yankees. The Tigers have won 6, but it's not been since 1959, but they've had a lot of trips to the playoffs, so they're doing well also. They just didn't have enough. Now, Christensen did get hurt on his last in Game 6 of the World Series when he got the win. He's got torn elbow ligaments, so he's out for 8 months still as we are in November with the first-year player draft. When we see the league leaders for the 1988 season, Alvin Davis hit 335, barely beating Kirby Puckett. Jack Clark, and gone too soon from our team, I guess, 41 home runs, which in 1988 he hit 27 and hit 242, but he was a 264 hitter with 41 home runs, so we could have still used him for sure. But not that we were hurting. Kirby Puckett with 104 RBI. Kim Allen had 61 stolen bases. Alvin Davis with the 968 OPS. Kirby Puckett with the 7.4 batter WAR. Sandberg had a 27-game hitting streak. Frank Viola in the pitching had a 2.54 ERA and 24 wins, but he only had 186 strikeouts, while Clemens had 230. Jeff Reardon with 39 saves. Ted Higuera with a 7.8 pitcher WAR. In the NL, it was Paul Molitor taking home the batting title with a 331 batting average. So that first season 2 years ago was definitely an aberration. He is crushing it now. Jose Canseco, 39 home runs and 121 RBIs batted in. He also hit 307 and stole 18 bases, so he did quite well for the season. Joe Carter, 107 RBI, so more RBI than Clark did, but that's because he was just surrounded by a better offense. Henderson, 83 stolen bases. That's fantastic. Molitor had 65 and Smith 52. Not too shabby themselves. Danny Tartable with a 964 OPS. Molitor with an 8.6 batter WAR. Ozzie Smith, a 7.8. He hit 284. Had 74 RBI. His career high was 75 in 1987, where he hit 303. For us, his career high is 74. So I think he's going to end up with more RBI because he's in a more explosive offense, and he's not leading it off. He's hitting 8th, 7th, and 8th. So he's got big hitters in front of him to knock him in. We've got Tony Gwynn had a 26-game hitting streak. Larry Christensen with a 1.95 ERA. So, man, we're going to miss him next season. What a bounce-back season from 1987. Hershiser did great as well, 261 and 23 wins. We all took the wins, which we should, with 118. Nolan Ryan had 261 strikeouts at the age of 41. Eckersley, 48 saves. He is at peak Eck right now. And Nolan Ryan with a 7-pitcher WAR. Will he get a Cy Young? I'm not sure, but we'll find out. When you look at our team, we were first in everything until we got to home runs. We were not hitting a lot of the long ball. Bo Stock, fantastic season without getting the home runs. Mike Schmidt, only 17. He's on his decline, but we got Matt Williams waiting in the wings, ready to come up and replace him when needed. Cal Ripken Jr. is on the trading block. We could make a run for it, but Ozzy we still have, and I don't really want to replace him, so we're just going to let Ripken stay out there. If only I could get Griffey. I've tried time and time again. They don't care. Let's take a look at the awards. And we have, let's see, defensive players, gold gloves in the AL go to Mark Kubica. Tony Pena Sr. at catcher. He was our guy, but he's doing well. 2 gold gloves. Good to see him doing well. Darrell Evans at first. Ozzie Guillen at second. Tim Wallach again at third. His name is consistently showing up there. Walt Weiss at short, Tim Raines in left, Mike Kingery in center, and Jesse Barfield in right. In the NL, it was Don Wilson at pitcher, Charlie O'Brien at catcher, Mike Marshall at first, Mike Schmidt at second, John Castino at third, Alan Trammell at short, Dan Gladden in left, Gary Ward in center, and Orlando Gonzalez in right. The AL of the year, reliever of the year goes to Dave Smith from Baltimore with his 10-8 record and 37 saves, 1.56 ERA. 20 first place votes is enough to hold off Bill Lee of Cleveland with a 1.04 ERA in 50 games, but 68 appearances for Dave Smith. The NL goes to Eckersley in a close one, 12 first place votes, 11-3, the only 3 to get any points. What a fight. But Eckersley holds off Randy Myers, who was phenomenal in his own right with 40 saves, 87 strikeouts, and 1.76 ERA. But the Eck holds him off. Silver Sluggers in the AL go to Tim Laudner, Alvin Davis at first, hitting .335, Ryan Sandberg at second, Howard Johnson at third, Rance Mullinix, I don't know why that was tripping me up, at short. Left fielder Cal Daniels. Cal shows back up, just nowhere near as dominant as his last season, although his on-base percentage was 3 points higher. Kirby Puckett in center, Jack Clark in right, and Mike Greenwell as the DH. The NL goes Kevin Gross at pitcher, Mike Fitzgerald at catcher, Fred McGriff, the crime dog, in first, Terry Pendleton in second, another one of our former ones, Molitor at third, Cal Ripken Jr. at short, bouncing back, hitting only .248, but slugging the long ball at 31 home runs. Rickey Henderson in left, Ellis Burks in center, and Danny Tartable in right. Rookie of the year goes to Chris Sabo. 24 first place votes over Todd Benzinger with 2. Sabo at third base at .267 with 12 home runs and 64 RBI. While in the NL, it was Ellis Burks unanimously for the Phillies. I mean, that is a hard season to beat with 28 home runs, 104 RBIs, .314 average, 99 runs, .527 slugging, a 5.1 WAR. I didn't realize before Colorado that he didn't have that big of a season. Colorado, man, he much better than. Okay, well, good for him. Frank Viola wins unanimously the AL Cy Young Award with that 24-win season of his. And Nolan Ryan does get one, holding off teammate Oral Hershiser and Larry Christensen getting first place vote, while Jose De Leon for the Reds was able to get in third. But Ryan picking up his first Cy Young, which that'll add nicely to his statistics and help him get into the Hall of Fame when he retires. The AL MVP goes to Kirby Puckett. Alvin Davis also picked up a vote, and so did Frank Viola, but Puckett's going to get the win. He was on a Triple Crown race for a while. And Paul Molitor, 24 first place votes, holding off Canseco, getting his first MVP at the age of 32. He's still a ways off from the Hall of Fame because it's so hard as a hitter. But he'll get there. He's going to pass 200 hits this season probably. He's going to pass 40 WAR, so we'll see. He's getting close to 500 stolen bases. He's already passed 1,000 runs. He scored 122 times. He's led it twice. 48 doubles. He's led in triples, so he's getting close. He's gonna hopefully put his name on there. Ozzie Smith finishing in 5th, so good for him. When we look at some of the news, we will see Christensen again, torn elbow ligaments. Tug McGraw thankfully retired because he exercised his player option. Unfortunately, Charlie Huff retired a few years early. He pitched until he was 46, but he had 216 wins and 216 losses in real life, 3.75 ERA and 2,300 strikeouts, a 20 WAR. He never got in the starting lineup very much, only 5 seasons for us. So he only got 92 wins, 7 saves because he was never a closer. He ended up with 1,000 strikeouts and a 13 WAR, so he's not going to go into any kind of Hall of Fame or anything. He's going to get a chance, but he did win 8 World Series titles. Not a bad career for the man. Free agents that are out there, some of the big names, Dave Rader, Kent Haybeck, who still at 28 got years in front of him. George Brett still has some pop. Robin Yount, Larry Anderson, Gary Redus, Jim Dwyer, Lou Whitaker, Reggie Smith, and Brian Downing. As far as the free agent market for us, we've only got one out there. We're going to go after Dave Righetti, who's on his way down, but so we can get him on the cheap. We just need some bullpen help. We don't really have much. I don't want to pay big for any of them. So we're going to take a shot at him. And the draft. Now it's time to bring us to that. Some of the big names, Carlos Delgado, John Olerud, Mike Piazza, Jim Thome. I think I've already added him. Yeah. Frank Thomas, Tim Salmon, Jeff Bagwell, several Hall of Famers on this one. Pudge Rodriguez, Chuck Knobloch, so until he starts getting the yips and can't throw anymore from second. And Eric Young. There are some big names in this draft. We're going to be drafting 27th, unfortunately. Brian Giles is out there as well. Andy Bennis I have marked. Well, let's focus on the batters first. Let's see. Mo Vaughn, Jeff Kent, Ryan Klesko, Tino Martinez, Robin Ventura. I should put him and Nolan Ryan on the same team so that way they can fight at practice. JT Snow. I mean, there are some big names out here. Ed Sprague, he was good on an old front page sports baseball game as a third baseman back in the 90s. And pitchers, as far as pitchers go, Shane Reynolds, Andy Bennis. I marked Andy Bennis because he's a favorite of mine. Actually, we have some common background, so that's why I liked him. Jim Abbott, the one-arm pitcher who threw a no-hitter and was amazing, inspirational story. Charles Nagy, Cal Eldred. Cal Eldred in my offline save that I'm doing is actually a coach for me, so that's fun. Scott Erickson. These are all names I recognize, and it's kind of fun to see all of these. So let's see who we end up with. And first, with the Chicago Cubs, they are going to be taking Carlos Delgado. Let's go with the hitters. That's where the big names are. Houston's going to take Jim Thome, marked as a shortstop. Brewers are going to do Mike Piazza. Olerud goes to the Angels. Oakland takes Frank Thomas. The Mets get Brian Giles. Phillies, Shane Reynolds. Knobloch goes to the Giants. Minnesota takes Bagwell. Pudge Rodriguez goes to Boston. I was hoping that somehow he'd slip. Jim Edmonds did, so who knows. Mo Vaughn to the Expos. The White Sox, Tim Salmon. Mr. Angel Salmon goes to the White Sox. Andy Bennis to the Yankees instead of the Padres. The Braves get Todd Jones. Cleveland gets Matt Stairs. Eric Young to the Rangers. Man, this is just a who's who of like 90s players on my fantasy teams. Jeff Kent to the Twins. Pittsburgh takes Tino Martinez. Rio Cormier with the Royals. Toronto gets Charles Nagy. Ryan Klesko to the Padres. Denny Nagel to the Mariners. Didn't even see his name when I was looking around. LA gets Joey Eisen. Cincinnati, Robin Ventura. Jim Abbott to the Orioles. And Scott Erickson to the Tigers. So to round out first round, Trevor Hoffman as a shortstop. We're definitely going to get him. Oh, I didn't realize. Brilliant move, Scout. Well, I don't even have to look for any of these others. JT Snow, no, we don't need to worry about him. And Pedro Estacio, Bourbon. Okay, yeah, we're going with Trevor Hoffman. What a find by the Scout. What a find. Well done. So that's going to wrap up the first round. I'll finish this up and we'll get ready for the 1989 season. And we have arrived at opening day 1989. We are going to go up against Rick Sutcliffe and the New York Mets. We did not get Dave Righetti. Instead, we brought back Bruce Sutter, who was with us not too long ago after 2 seasons away. Appeared in 77 games last season. We brought him back on a short 2-year deal. It's probably only going to be possibly a 1-year deal. He's got a vesting option to finish games, and with Eckersley, I don't think he's going to finish in 20 games. So he's our only addition. The lineup that we're going to be sending out there is Paul Molitor. It's the same as last season. Only we've got Williams. Matt Williams is going to be getting some appearances behind Schmidt, especially if Schmidt struggles. We might just let Williams take over. That power numbers are going to be so much stronger than what Schmidt's are, so we'll see. And the defense is lacking now for Schmidt, which means Williams might be worth a shot to do that. But he'll also be backing up Ozzie Smith at short. So we'll see how that one turns out. And the pitching rotation is going to be Nolan Ryan, Hershiser. Chuck Finley is going to get in there this season. Dennis Martinez, again, who had a fantastic last couple of years. And Tom Glavine, he was appearing already at this time in real life, struggling a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and do it. And we're going to keep to his real life form. We're going to let him start all of his games as long as we can. We did bring up Mark Leiter. He's going to be finally getting to make it to the big leagues as well in the bullpen. But this will be, I think we're fine. Kenny Rogers isn't quite ready to move into the rotation. He doesn't have the stamina. Bob Ojeda could be there instead of Glavine, but he's had his turn out there for us. So we're going to let Glavine get a shot to move in and see how things go. As far as the Hall of Fame results go, Gaylord Perry got in on his first year. So did Reggie Jackson and Carl Yastrzemski. So Perry ended up with 293 wins and 3,400 strikeouts as opposed to 314 and 3,500 strikeouts in reality. Reggie Jackson only got to 432 home runs and 1,400 RBI, 1,500 runs, 2,500 hits, while 563 home runs. He got the same amount of hits and runs, actually, and roughly RBI, 88 WAR compared to his 76 WAR, but he just did not have the same bat. He also retired 4 years early. He missed out on another almost 80 or so home runs that could have put him up to that 500 level mark, but didn't get there. And Yastrzemski, who played and racked up 390 home runs, 1,600 RBI, 3,400 hits, and 1,800 runs, 101 WAR. Basically, he hit pretty well on, again, not the home run totals, though. 450 compared to his 390. So his home run totals were low as well, which makes me interested to see if the 1990s big guys are going to hit their marks or not. So that's where we're at as we're getting ready for this new season to wrap up the decade of the 1980s and see if we can finish it strong. We've won the last 2. We started the decade strong, then we took a big dip, and now we're on our way back up, and we're going to hopefully finish strong and not have some crazy thing end as we try to hunt down the New York Yankees real life World Series total. And I've already converted Trevor Hoffman to pitcher, because what's the point of having him as a shortstop when we know that's not going to be the case? Dave Nielsen's still not ready, but he'll be there whenever Terry Steinbach starts to fade away, which could be relatively soon. But we got Surhoff up there right now to back him up. So let's go. Oh, look at this. Nolan Ryan is now our strikeout leader for the Cardinals with 3,089, which he didn't pitch for us for a while. He's up to 4,828. What did he end up with again? 5,700. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know if he'll get to that or not, but we'll find out. And let's dive into this season and get ourselves to the All-Star break. At the All-Star break, we are having another solid start to the season to wrap up this decade. We are 54-33, 5.5 games up over the Phillies. We are a second-half team, though, but, man, the Phillies have won 11 straight. King Griffey Jr. has made the call up. He's struggling. Maybe they'll want to trade him. I don't know, but they got Rickey Henderson, Griffey Jr., Burks, Eddie Murray. Man, they're set there, but they had Jamie Moyer in there. Righetti ended up signing with them. I don't know that they're going to be deep enough and strong enough overall to keep pace. We'll find out. The Reds are 2 games up over the Padres and only 2.5 up over the Dodgers. The West is really tight. In the East, the Tigers are 2 games up on the Orioles, while the White Sox are a game and a half up on the Royals. The leaders are Brett Butler with a .338 average, Eric Davis with 26 home runs, Hojo Howard Johnson 72 RBI at the break, Roberto Kelly with 26 stolen bases, Davis has a .930 OPS, Brett Butler at a .48 batter WAR. Dave Magadan had a 22-game hitting streak. And in the pitching side, Scott Bankhead with a 2.29 ERA, Dave Stieb with 13 wins, Mark Langston 125 strikeouts, Lee Smith 20 saves, and Mark Kubica with 4 pitcher WAR. In the NL, Henderson's leading the way with a .328 average. Boggs is back up there, though. Canseco has 26 home runs and 66 RBI. He's also batting .295. Not too bad. Galarraga's up here for us. That's good to see. Miguel Delon, 27 stolen bases. Fred McGriff with a 103.9 OPS. Henderson has a .53 batter WAR. Chili Davis and Gary Sheffield both had 18-game hitting streaks. Hershiser has a .235 ERA to lead the league, along with 12 wins, but Ryan has 162 strikeouts. Eckersley with 25 saves, and Rick Aguilera with a .46 pitcher WAR. You'll notice our team's doing pretty well. We're not leading in home runs. We're 10th. We don't have the bat. We do have a lot of pitching going for us, though. When we look at the All-Star game, we've got in the AL, Frank Viola at starting pitcher for Detroit, and Jeff Reardon, the closer from Detroit. Don Slott at catcher, Alvin Davis at first, Johnny Ray at second base, Howard Johnson at third, Tony Fernandez at short, Darryl Strawberry in left, Eric Davis in center, and Andre Dawson in right. In the NL, we've got Hershiser making the team, but Nolan Ryan gets the nod. Eckersley is also on the team. Mike Lavalier with a .309 average, .28 WAR, only 1 home run, but he's got the catcher spot. Todd Zeal's showing up. That's good. I was a fan of his growing up, too. Galarraga's on the team, but Fred McGriff, having an outstanding season, gets the start. Well-deserved. Terry Pendleton's got the start at second. Paul Molitor beats out Wade Boggs. Molitor is hitting .281. Boggs is doing a little bit better, but Molitor's stellar season from last year is carrying over. Smith makes it, but Alan Trammell gets the nod over 3 other shortstops. Joe Carter's on the team as well. That's good to see, but Rickey Henderson gets the start. And then Robin Yount and Jose Canseco are rounding out the outfield as far as the starters go. So that's where we are going into the second half of the season. I like our odds, but we'll find out as we finish up the season, get to the draft, and wrap up the 1989 season and the 1980s decade to set the stage for the 1990s. So let's see how this thing ends. We did finish strong. Once again, we are a second-half team, and the Phillies faded. We ended up winning by 25 games with 109 wins. The Reds held on by a game over the Padres. The Blue Jays making their first postseason appearance, winning against the Tigers by a game, and the White Sox also holding off by a game. 3 really tight races, and then we were over here. In the playoffs, the LCS, we took care of the Reds 4-1. Joe Carter getting the series MVP. The Blue Jays, meanwhile, did the same to the White Sox with Eric Davis getting the MVP. They have Eric Davis having that good season there. But what I did not realize is Mike Scioscia's over there for one, but they have Clemens, David Cone, and Greg Maddux, the Blue Jays do, all entering into primes. If they can keep those 3, they're going to be back again several times. They need to sign those guys for everything they can. In the World Series, we went 7 games. It took us 7 games. They came back and won games 5 and 6. So in game 7, Christensen had a gem of a game. Mike Schmidt, who struggled in the season, was able to get the MVP with 3 home runs in the series. Nolan Ryan, you'll notice, did not appear in this series because he was hurt in the last month or so. He was put out for 2 months, so he did not get to finish the season with us. Now, when we look at the league leaders and who took what, Mark Grace came storming up to win the batting title at .325 in the AL. Glenn Davis with 42 home runs. Howard Johnson held on with 118 RBI. Roberto Kelly with 46 stolen bases. Glenn Davis, a sub-900 OPS with .899. Joe Orsulak had a 6.9 batter WAR with 14 home runs, 310 average, 70 runs, 89 RBI, but 6.9 WAR. Kirby Puckett had a 28 game hitting streak. Doug Drabeck, a 2.49 ERA. I think he's 1 year away from his Cy Young winning season. I think it was 1990. John Denny had a 20-win season along with Mark Langston. Clemens, 238 strikeouts. Jeff Reardon, 38 saves. And Pascual Perez with a 7.1 pitcher WAR. In the NL, Boggs had a 318 average, besting Paul Molitor. Canseco finished with 44 home runs. Cecil Fielder's showing up now. Canseco also had 115 RBIs. Ozzie Smith taking the stolen base title with 49. The OPS goes to Canseco with 962. Batter WAR is Paul Molitor at 8.6. Another fantastic season. Possible MVP, but that's going to be a little tougher. Luis Polonia with a 19-game hitting streak. Hershiser, 2.52 ERA, 23 wins. But Mark Gardner with 242 strikeouts. Hershiser only had 158. He's not a strikeout guy. He's a hit to my good defense guy. Greg Olson had 43 saves to beat Eckersley, but Eckersley did have a much lower ERA, and we won more games in a wider variety to where he wasn't able to necessarily get the saves. You can see here, Galarraga had 30 home runs for us. We had two guys hitting 100 RBIs, Carter and Galarraga. We were first in everything except home runs. We were fifth, and continued to be first in everything except for zone rating and errors. So no wonder we did really well. Jose Rijo also moved into the starting position a little bit at the end. This was a 4-game for the series, but Tom Glavine was also starting, had a 17-win season. So let's get ready for the awards before we do the draft. We have to see who picked up what. So let's check out those major awards, starting with the Gold Gloves. In the AL, Mike Gubics, Don Slaught at catcher, Mark Grace at first, Ozzie Guillen at second. Third goes to Tim Wallach, again showing back up. Fantastic defensive career here. Tony Fernandez in short, Danny Heap in left, Mike Kingery in center, and Joe Orsulak in right. In the NL, it was Don Wilson at pitcher, Todd Zeal at catcher with a whopping 231 average and 7 home runs. We've entered the age of catchers not hitting the ball. Eddie Murray with the first base, Terry Pendleton at second, John Castino at third, hitting 303. Alan Trammell at short, he's picking up several. Only 2. I guess because between the Gold Gloves and this, it seems like he's shown up more. In the outfield goes to Rickey Henderson, Miguel Dillon, and King Griffey Jr. with a 231 average and 14 home runs. It's got to be because of his name. I don't know why he would have won it otherwise. The right field, reliever of the year, Jeff Reardon, 26 first place votes, wins it unanimously with his 38 saves, and Eckersley wins it unanimously in the NL. Silver Sluggers in the AL go to Craig Biggio at catcher. Remember, he did start as that before moving to second base and getting hit with a lot of beanballs. Glenn Davis, first base. Second base goes to Bip Roberts. Hojo at third. Greg Jeffries at short, Ruben Sierra in left, Eric Davis in center, Joe Orsulak in right, and Roberto Kelly as the DH. In the NL, it was Sid Fernandez at pitcher, Brian Harper at catcher, Fred McGriff at first, Bobby Grich at second for the Mets. We let him go. He wasn't going to play. We just didn't want to pay him for the backups. Paul Molitor at third, Cal Ripken Jr. at short, and the outfield went to Rickey Henderson, Chris Smith, and Jose Canseco. When it comes to the Rookie of the Year, it was John Smoltz, barely holding out by 1 point, 1 first place vote. Greg Jeffries. So Greg Jeffries hit 12 home runs, 55 RBIs, 271 average, while Smoltz was 14-9 in 238 innings, 172 strikeouts, a 2.91 ERA. Jim Eisenreich also picked up some first place votes, playing right field for California. In the NL, it was a lot farther difference as Dwight Smith for the Cubs was able to win it out in center field, hitting 262 with 17 home runs. The Cy Young went to Frank Viola, holding off Mike Scott in the AL. 16-12 record with a 2.50 ERA. And Hershiser wins another one unanimously. 3 Cy Youngs for the man now. Way to go, sir. Going 23-3. Howard Johnson wins the MVP with fewer first place votes than Darryl Strawberry, but enough points overall. Mark Grace got 7 as well. That was a tight race going on there, but Johnson with 30 home runs. He is in his prime, about to come down from it potentially. We shall see. And Paul Molitor wins it again. Jose Canseco got second, so this is the second one in a row for Paul Molitor. So well done, sir. Now let's check out the draft. Before we do, here's some major free agents. Eric Davis, Lee Smith, Wade Boggs, Pedro Guerrero still. Mike Scioscia's back out there. And the first-year player draft, you'll notice big names. Pedro Martinez, Carlos Delgado, Chipper Jones, Mike Messina. These are some heavy hitters out there. But we are in 27th, meaning we're not going to get anything because why would they keep them there for us? So let's start this draft and see who goes. Oh, yeah, Mariano Rivera is in this one as well. So, yay, we're going to miss all of them. Mike Hampton, Jose Lima, several. So, first pick of the draft goes to Cleveland, and it is Carlos Delgado again. The Cubs take Pedro Martinez. Wish he wasn't going there. Chipper Jones goes to now, how about that? He gets drafted to the Mets. So, if you don't know, I'm assuming you do if you're watching this, but Chipper Jones, the Braves legend, he named his kid Shea after Shea Stadium, where he always had such great games and destroyed the Mets. And here he is. He's going to play for the Mets. What a travesty. The Cubs are going to take Mike Messina and Pedro Martinez. They have, oh my goodness, that's going to be a duo. California gets Rusty the Red Baron Greer. Carl Everett goes to Oakland. Milwaukee gets Brett Boone. The Giants take Vinny Castilla. Mariano Rivera to the Pirates. The Expos, Gabe White. Jeremy Burnitz to Houston. Minnesota takes Mike Hampton. Tim Worrell to the Royals. Joe Borowski to the Braves. Garrett Anderson to the Red Sox. Jose Lima to the Dodgers. Texas takes Kevin Young. Mike Lieberthal to the Padres. The Phillies rack up Alex Fernandez. Tony Clark to the Reds. The Yankees get Bob Wickman. Baltimore, Alan Embry. Seattle, Raul Mondesi. Ray Durham to the Tigers. He fell pretty far. Scott Sanders to the White Sox. The Blue Jays take Steve Carsey. Our scouting director says we should take Rondell White. Not a horrible pick. There's nobody really out there. No one that can hit anyways. There are some. Shane Andrews. Rondell White is looking pretty good, actually. Brian Dahlback. Thin pickings. I don't see any pitchers that really jump out at me. So we'll go with Rondell White. I know he makes the majors at least. So there we are with the end of round 1. So we're going to wrap up this episode here. I'll finish all this, get ready for 1990. And when we come back on the next episode, we will take a look at the career and season leaderboards, see if anything changed in the 1980s. And we will get ready to jump into the 1990s, the era of the roids and home runs where chicks are digging the long ball. But we also have the Pedro and Randy Johnson and Clemens. I am excited to go through that. That is the era that I remember the most. And so I'm excited to dive into it and see the names coming back and then that fantasy baseball feel to it. So it's going to be great. Thank you all for joining me again. And I hope to see you on the next episode and have a great day.